Hello viewers, Super GT here. Update 1.29 is dropping into Gran Turismo 7 February 21st, and this one is huge. This is a mega update. Really looking forward to this one. Let's take a look at the trailer that came out to cover this update. First things first, PSVR 2 will be arriving. The headset is launched on February 22nd, but it'll be updated into the game on the 21st. This is a massive update. GT Sophie, wow, again, another really cool addition to Gran Turismo 7. This one is an AI, very intelligent, very fast, and I'm excited to see how that one works out. Next up is Scapes, a couple of additions here, drift scapes, and also being able to move the camera up and down. Then tracks, Grand Valley Highway 1. I wasn't expecting this. It's not Grand Valley Speedway, but it is a new track, really interesting. Then we have a couple of cars, an old Citroen, an old Honda F1 car from the 60s, a pair of Ital design cars, which look quite curious, and then the Porsche 911 Carrera RS from the 70s. And that covers update 1.29. Let's go into a bit more detail by taking a look at this, the official page of the update. Now, the first thing on the list is the cars, but I want to take a look at PSVR 2. So the headset releases on the 22nd, the update is on the 21st of February, and I really honestly think this will be a game changer for Gran Turismo 7. I was lucky enough to have a go of the PSVR 2 headset, and I can tell you it is incredible. I will be getting my hands on a headset and be making videos, so obviously get yourself subscribed for that. But it's important to note, firstly, that this is for PS5 users only, and it says here, as well as being able to experience all events, including online races and game modes, with the exception of the two-player split screen. So it is the entire game, pretty much. So they give 6 photos here of the game, and obviously it's all in cockpit view. I don't think that's too surprising. But then you have a mode where you can go into the garages, a bunch of different locations, and then have a look inside the cars. So inside the cockpit, for example, but then you can also walk around the car and have a look at the car in great detail. So I think this part of the update, the VR2, is probably best explained in a video, which I'll make later this week. But what I can say, this is going to be really good for the game. Next up, let's talk about GT Sophie. So for those that don't know what this is, it's an artificial intelligence which learns from the player. Over time, it learns how to race and how to be quick. There have been many videos showing how quick it is, and it has been so fast it's been able to easily beat the world's best players. I was lucky enough to race against Sophie back in November at the Monaco event, and I can tell you it's really quite scary racing against this AI, this robot. But this version will be a little bit easier, I would have thought, and it's only going to be in the game for about a month. As you can see here, available until late March. So it'll be accessed, as you can see here, top right of the main world map screen. And there will be 4 different races, as you can see, Tsukuba Alsace, Trial Mountain, Suzuka, in a range of different cars. From what I can tell, you know, the player here is in the Integra Type R, and then there's 4 AI cars, and then there's 4 different difficulties. So I believe this works by whichever car you choose will determine the difficulty of the event. So if you choose a slower car, then you'll be rewarded with a higher prize. If you choose the easier, faster car, then you'll go down to beginner. So you can see here like a screenshot of the Tsukuba race, 4 different cars, 4 different AI, blue, rouge, vert, and violette. Excuse my horrible French. As you can see here, the smiley face above rouge in second place there. So the AI is going to be constantly learning and judging your racing, and I think we can see that a bit more clearly if we go back to this trailer. You can see here smiley face above this Corvette. This is a Trial Mountain race now. Then it turns to a sort of an angry face, I guess because you're trying to go up the inside in towards turn 1. So the game is constantly judging your actions. There's another smiley face there, or not a very smiley face at all. You can see here Kaz making Sophie Vert not particularly happy, a bit nauseous it looks. See on this scene here, because this car just got overtaken by all 3, they were gone quite smiley, so they obviously enjoyed that. If we head over to the Sony AI website, as you can see here, it goes into a bit more detail about this update. So it says in each of the 4 races, the player races against 4 GT Sophie cars of different performance levels. Players can also challenge GT Sophie in 1v1 mode, where GT Sophie and the player race one-on-one with identical car configurations and settings. So perhaps, yeah, when you jump into these races, obviously there's 4 different cars. They look slightly different in terms of performance, and judging on which one you pick will be determining which difficulty level you're playing at. So that's GT Sophie. I think it's a really positive update, a really good direction for the game to go in. Let's face it, the AI is awful on Gran Turismo 7, the basic AI. So Sophie is a welcome addition. Next up, let's talk about the track, which is being added, Grand Valley Highway 1. Now this is just over 5 kilometers long, quite a lot of elevation change, 18 corners, and then the longest straight is about 1 kilometer. Now there's 2 configurations. There's full highway 1, which is the 5 kilometer version. Then there's the shorter 2000 meter, 2 kilometer south layout. They also provide 8 images. Let's take a look at these. So it looks like the main straight leading in towards turn 1. That's what I guess this is. This is the same. This is the main straight, so this is just a little bit before that. You see the pit lane, long straight into a tunnel. And then we have this next shot, big bridge in the background. That's quite a prominent feature on this circuit. Another shot, couple of configurations which you can see here. Because if you look at this photo here, you have this bridge coming down. And then you have this track to the left, which is blocked off. If you look at this is the same part of the track. So that's the same bridge coming down. And then this was that bit that was blocked off. So these are the 2 different configurations, or at least part of them. Then you have that big bridge in the background leading into this weird hairpin under this rock. Another shot here of a Chevrolet going through one of the tunnels on the track. And then this was quite a good photo because it shows a large extent of the circuit. That's that big bridge in the background. I think this corner here on the foreground is the first corner, because if you look here, you have this sort of grey curb on the left hand side. On the inside you have some grandstands here. Then if you look at this photo, the first one again, you've got this grey curb down the inside. There's probably some grandstands on this side here, but it's hard to tell. I'm guessing. We also have this screenshot here. This one is another angle of the main straight, and then sort of the pit buildings behind it. So it looks like you've got this very long straight. It says the longest straight is 1 kilometer long, so it looks perhaps like it's this one here. Now if you look back at the trailer, there's more to see in terms of working out what this track is. Now firstly, right, we've got to work this out because it says here Grand Valley Speedway, and I don't think this is Grand Valley Speedway. This is Grand Valley Highway 1. So yes, it may be disappointing to hear Grand Valley's coming back, but it's not Grand Valley Speedway. At least this sign says it is, but it isn't. Now I was trying to work out if this part of the track maybe is related to the original circuit, but I don't think the layout really adds up to me. So another angle here, it looks like this corner at the far end is the first hairpin. So I mean this one here, I think it's the same corner. Yeah, there's not too much more to tell really. I think we'll just have to play it when it comes out. For those that want a reference of how long this track roughly is, it says just over 5 kilometers, 5.1 kilometers. For reference, the Nürburgring GP circuit is also 5.1 kilometers. So maybe a 2-minute lap time, I'd say, for the full version in a Group 3 car, maybe a bit longer. It's quite a twisty track. So yeah, this is a really cool addition to the game. Yes, not Grand Valley Speedway, but I'm really intrigued to see how this track plays out. It does look very interesting to me. Also on here we have drift stage and move the camera up and down. So what it looks like you're doing basically with this drift photography is you're determining the direction of the car where it's drifting with that arrow, as you can see. And then you take the photo and it's as if the car has come from that direction because it adds the smoke effect. And then we have the ability to move the camera up and down, as you can see in the scapes mode, which has not been available before. And then of course we have the cars, which to me is probably the least exciting part of this update, to be honest. We have the Citroen DS21. It doesn't mean too much to me, this car, but maybe there's people out there that absolutely love this thing. So this is the Honda from the 60s, the F1 car. This will be really fun to drive in VR, so this one I think will be quite interesting. We have a pair of concept cars from Ital Design. So we have the street mode version, which is this one here. and then we have an off-road version. And then finally, last but not least, we have a beautiful Porsche Carrera from the 70s being added as well. So all in all, a very, very promising update. Lots of features, lots of content, which I think is really, really good for the game. It's been a year since the release of the game, near enough now. And, you know, we've been waiting for some serious momentum with GT7, with content, with updates. And I think hopefully now it's starting to come. With the addition of Grand Valley Highway 1, that perhaps paves the way for Grand Valley Speedway to eventually arrive, which I think would be very, very nice. And with GT Sophie, this is just the beginning. Hopefully in the future, we're going to see a lot more development of that AI, and I think that's very welcome. I suppose the only real downside for me of this update is the fact that the Sophie mode and the VR is only on PS5. So if you're on PS4, you know, this update probably isn't so good. You will get the track and the cars at least, but not the bigger features. But please do let me know your thoughts in the comments. This update for me is huge. It's massive. I've said it enough. I want to know your thoughts in the comments. Get yourself subscribed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.